When you rise each morning, rise as though the weight of a kingdom rests upon your shoulders, not in burden, but in dignity. Act as if your life itself is the foundation of an empire. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every gesture you make is a stone laid in the palace of your destiny. Do not wait for proof before you begin. Proof comes only after belief. An empire is not born from circumstance. It is born from the unseen conviction that you are already its ruler. Begin now to feel the certainty that you are destined for greatness. Carry yourself with the quiet authority of one who already reigns. The world around you may contradict this vision. Your current environment may whisper of limitation, of lack, of smallness. But remember, empires are not built upon what is, but upon what is believed. If you persist in the state of empire, the circumstances of your life must eventually bow and conform. Walk through your days as though halls of marble already echo beneath your steps. Sit at your table as though counsels of wisdom already gather in your presence. Speak with the calm assurance of one who knows he commands wealth, power, and influence. You are not pretending. You are rehearsing the reality that is already forming in the unseen. And while others may look for signs, you need none. Your sign is the inner certainty that does not waver. Persist. Continue to dwell in the state of empire until the outer world reshapes itself to mirror the inner. What you nurture in silence will one day appear before the eyes of all. Act as if you are going to build an empire, for in truth, the moment you act, you already have. The empire you dream of does not begin with stone, steel, or land. It begins with something invisible. Something so delicate and easily overlooked that most people dismiss it. It begins with a seed. Not a seed planted in the earth, but one planted in the soil of imagination. The seed of assumption is the true beginning of all greatness. Long before the first tower rises, long before the first foundation is laid, there exists only the conviction that it already belongs to you. This invisible root is what nourishes and gives life to everything that follows. To assume is to claim, silently, inwardly, that a thing is yours before any evidence appears. It is to walk in the quiet certainty that what you seek is already accomplished. Just as a gardener does not question whether a seed will break open and grow once it is planted, so too must you refuse to doubt the seed of your own vision. The gardener covers the seed with earth and walks away in trust, knowing that nature will handle the process. Likewise, when you assume the empire is yours, you no longer chase after it or beg for it. You live as though its reality is unfolding, because within imagination, it already has. This act of assumption is not mere daydreaming, it is creation itself. The world you see around you is nothing more than the hardened shadows of yesterday's assumptions. Every man who ever built an empire began with nothing more tangible than the certainty of mind that he could and that he would. Assumption precedes achievement, just as cause precedes effect. Without the invisible root, no visible fruit can appear. Living from assumption requires more than casual wishing. It is not saying one day I might build an empire. It is declaring I am the one who has built it. There is a great difference between hoping and assuming. Hope looks forward, longing for what might come. Assumption rests now, claiming that the thing has already arrived. This shift of identity is everything. If you assume that you are already the ruler of an empire, then you walk, think, and decide differently. You carry yourself with weight, with vision, with purpose, even before the world acknowledges it. You live from the state of empire, and because you live from it, the world must eventually yield to it. Many people spend their lives waiting for signs before they believe. They wait for a door to open, for an opportunity to appear, for proof that their dreams are possible. But this waiting is their downfall, for the sign only comes after the seed has been planted. The evidence only arises after the assumption has taken root. To demand proof before planting the seed is to demand fruit before sowing. That is why assumption is the key. It bypasses the need for external evidence and rests in the truth that the inner world gives birth to the outer. So guard the seed of assumption. Nurture it daily in imagination. Let it become so real to you that you no longer feel the distance between desire and possession. Live as though the empire is already yours, not outwardly boasting, but inwardly settled. That invisible seed will grow in silence, and at the appointed time the world will bow before the tree that sprang from your unseen conviction. The empire you long to build will not rise from circumstance, chance, or opportunity alone. It will rise from the truth you accept about yourself. Identity is the silent architect of destiny. What you assume yourself to be becomes the mold into which the world must pour itself. If you see yourself as small, overlooked, or powerless, then no matter how great your vision, the empire will remain a dream. But if you dare to assume the identity of the builder, the creator, the ruler, then the empire must, by law, conform to that identity. Every thought you entertain about yourself carries the power to shape your destiny. People often imagine great things, yet continue to identify with weakness, with lack, with limitation. They say, I want to build an empire, but inwardly they feel unworthy, unprepared, or incapable. And so their vision remains a shadow, never taking form. Desire alone does not create. It is the identity you wear that sets the stage for manifestation. When you shift from wanting to being, from longing to claiming, everything changes. The outer world cannot resist the authority of an assumed identity. Consider how a child playing the role of a king suddenly carries himself differently. His voice deepens, his chest lifts, his words gain command. Nothing around him has changed, yet his posture reveals the power of identity. He is no longer a child pretending. In his mind, he is king, and so he acts accordingly. If a child can transform so completely in a game, how much more can you transform when you consciously adopt the identity of the builder of an empire? You are not asked to wait until conditions prove you worthy. You are asked to believe yourself into the state where conditions must align. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. To take on the identity of the builder now is to live in harmony with your vision. You no longer walk through life as a beggar hoping for scraps of opportunity. You walk as a sovereign who knows that opportunities bend to meet him. You decide with conviction. You act with clarity. You move with purpose because the empire is already yours in consciousness. The more you dwell in that state, the more natural it becomes until the world begins to reflect it back to you. The secret lies not in waiting for evidence, but in assuming the role. Identity shapes habits, habits shape actions, and actions shape results. When you identify as the builder, you naturally think like one. You see possibilities where others see obstacles. You persist when others quit. You endure what others cannot because you are no longer tied to a temporary role. You are living from the permanent state of empire. The outer conditions may still appear small, but within you already reign. Take on the identity of the builder now. See yourself as the one chosen to raise the empire. Speak as though your words carry the weight of authority. Move as though the ground beneath your feet already belongs to you. The world may not recognize it yet, but destiny cannot deny the one who has assumed his rightful identity. When you believe yourself to be the builder, the empire must appear. For your world is only the mirror of who you believe yourself to be. To act in harmony with vision is to live as though the future you long for is already present. It is to carry yourself with the quiet confidence of one who knows that what is unseen is far more real than what is seen. Too often, people separate their vision from their daily actions. They dream of greatness, but continue to live small. They envision empires, but carry themselves as if nothing has changed. This division weakens the seed of creation. But when you align your movement, your words, and your very posture with the reality you claim within, you give life to your vision. Action is not forced. It flows naturally from conviction. Imagine a man who believes he is destined to rule. Even if no one else sees it, he does not stumble through life carelessly. His steps have weight. His words are measured. His demeanor carries authority. He does not wait for a crown to be placed upon his head before walking like a king. He walks like a king, and the crown finds him. This is the essence of acting in harmony with vision. You are not pretending, you are rehearsing the reality that is already alive in your imagination. Every empire, every great achievement begins first in the unseen, yet it must be expressed through the body and through action to take form in the world. If your vision is of abundance, but your actions reflect lack, you remain divided against yourself. If your vision is of leadership, yet you speak with hesitation and uncertainty, you contradict your own destiny. But if your vision is empire, and you carry yourself as though you are already the builder, then your actions, tone, and energy will radiate certainty. People and opportunities will be drawn to you because life responds not to words alone, but to the vibration of being. Acting in harmony with vision requires discipline of imagination. Each day you must return to the end you desire, see it clearly, and feel it as real. From that state, your actions will naturally align. You will no longer force yourself to work harder, to struggle, or to push against the world. Instead, your movement will flow with ease because it springs from conviction. The man who knows he is wealthy does not act in desperation to prove it. He moves with calm assurance. The one who knows he is powerful does not boast loudly. His authority speaks through silence. In the same way, when you live in the end of your vision, your actions carry the weight of inevitability. There is no greater magnet for manifestation than the harmony between inner vision and outer action. The world cannot resist the one whose being is aligned. People feel it, circumstances bend to it, and doors open where walls once stood. To act in harmony with vision is to declare to life itself, I am already what I seek to become. And life, having no choice, must mirror that truth. Live today as though your empire already exists, and you will soon find the world arranging itself to make it visible. The greatest obstacle to the building of an empire is not lack of resources nor lack of opportunity, but the trap of present circumstances. What you see around you can be so loud, so convincing, that it tempts you to forget the power of vision. You look at the size of your bank account, the limitations of your environment, the judgments of others, and you begin to doubt. But the wise understand that present circumstances are nothing more than shadows of yesterday's assumption. They are not fixed, they are malleable, they are clay waiting for the hands of imagination to reshape them. To ignore present circumstances is not to deny reality, but to refuse to bow to it. It is to recognize that what you see today is not the final word, it is simply the echo of a past belief. Your life today is the harvest of seeds planted in thought and assumption long ago. If you remain fixated on this harvest, you will only replant the same seeds, and the cycle will continue. But if you dare to lift your eyes beyond what is visible, and instead focus on what you choose to create, you break the cycle and open the way for transformation. Consider the man who begins with nothing but a dream. To the world, he is poor, insignificant, a figure lost in the crowd. But within him burns the image of a vast empire, a kingdom of influence and abundance. If he measures himself by present conditions, he will quit before he begins. Yet if he closes his ears to the voices of limitation and fixes his gaze inward, he can sustain the vision until the world reshapes itself. Every empire that ever rose began with such defiance, the refusal to accept the present as permanent. Bring in it, bring in it, bring in it, bring in it, begin it. Begin it, bring. This does not mean neglecting responsibility or abandoning reason. It means knowing that the invisible world of imagination is more powerful than the visible facts of the moment. The man who clings to vision while walking through lack is not delusional, he is faithful. Faith is nothing more than loyalty to the unseen. To believe only what you can see requires no courage. To believe in what is not yet visible and to live as though it already is requires strength. And that strength is what bends circumstances to your will. The present moment is temporary, no matter how solid it appears. Walls crumble, doors open, conditions change and opportunities arise. Life is in constant motion, and it is always moving in response to the images held within consciousness. If you allow yourself to be ruled by appearances, you hand over your power to what is fleeting. But if you insist on seeing beyond appearances, you exercise dominion over them. So when the present looks small, do not be discouraged. When your resources appear meager, do not surrender. Instead, hold your vision higher. See yourself already enthroned in the empire of your making. Ignore the whispers of lack and limitation. Trust that circumstances are clay and you are the potter. In time, the world must bend and bow to the vision of the one who dares to see beyond it. Persistence is the crown of creation, the force that separates fleeting dreams from living empires. It is easy to imagine once, to feel inspired for a moment, to see a glimpse of greatness in the quiet hours of thought. But to hold unwaveringly to that imagined end, day after day, in the face of contradiction, is what gives you dominion. The world does not bow to the one who wishes, it bows to the one who persists. Empires are not built overnight. They are born from sustained faith, from the steady refusal to let go of the vision, no matter how long the outer world resists. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every morning to check if it has grown. You water it, you protect it, and you trust the process. Persistence in imagination works the same way. You do not abandon your vision simply because days or weeks pass without evidence. You nourish it with attention, You protect it from the weeds of doubt, and you trust that what is real within will one day take form without. The gardener's patience becomes the king's palace. The challenge is that life will tempt you with appearances. Circumstances will rise like storms trying to shake your faith. People will question your certainty, pointing to facts that scream the opposite of what you claim. Your own senses will betray you, whispering that nothing is happening. This is the battlefield of creation. To persist in the face of contradiction is to declare dominion over appearances. It is to say, though the world denies it, I remain loyal to my end. This loyalty to vision is what forces reality to shift. Every great builder, every founder of an empire, has faced seasons of silence and barrenness. But those who endured, who held fast to their inner reality, found that the world eventually yielded. Time is not your enemy. It is the servant of persistence. The longer you hold the state, the stronger its roots grow, until one day it breaks the surface and astonishes everyone who once doubted. What they call a miracle is only the harvest of persistence. Persistence is not straining, nor is it desperate effort. It is quiet endurance. It is the calm return to your imagined end every time you are tempted to waver. It is choosing to dwell in the state of empire even when surrounded by evidence of lack. You are not forcing the vision into existence. You are simply refusing to leave the place where it already exists. In this loyalty, you prove yourself master of your destiny. Dominion is not seized in a single act. It is established through sustained faith. Each time you choose the vision over appearances, you expand your authority. Each time you return to the end with conviction, you tighten your grip on the throne that is already yours. One day, the world will see the empire you built, but by then, it will not surprise you. You will know it was persistence that carved it from the unseen, persistence that crowned you with dominion, persistence that transformed imagination into fact. There is a sacred power in silence that few ever understand. The world is noisy, filled with people eager to announce their intentions, to convince others of their worth, to prove that they are on the path to greatness. Yet true creation requires none of this. The empire you are building begins not with words spoken outwardly, but with whispers spoken inwardly. Silence is the chamber where vision matures, where certainty deepens, and where power gathers unseen. To build within in quiet assurance is to trust the invisible process more than the approval of men. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not rush to announce to the world what is hidden underground. You do not tear open the earth every day to show your neighbors the roots. You leave it in silence, trusting that time will reveal what has been growing in secret. Your vision is no different. The more you protect it within, the stronger it becomes. The need to tell others, to explain or defend yourself often springs from doubt, but when you are certain, you can rest in silence, knowing that what is real in imagination will one day be undeniable in fact. Silence is not weakness, it is mastery. It is a posture of one who does not need to prove anything, because proof already exists within. The world often mistakes loudness for strength, but in truth, noise is the companion of insecurity. Those who are sure of their destiny move with quiet confidence. They do not advertise the empire before it rises. They let the empire itself be the announcement. This quiet power disarms opposition and draws respect. For nothing is more compelling than certainty that does not beg to be believed. In silence, you shield your vision from the voices of doubt, share your dream too freely, and you invite opinions, criticisms, and disbelief. These voices, if allowed, can weaken your conviction. But when you guard your empire within, you keep it pure, untouched by the fear and skepticism of others. The seed of imagination is fragile at first, requiring protection from the winds of outside influence. Silence is that protection. This does not mean you withdraw from action. Rather, your action is guided by inner assurance rather than outward validation. You do not act to impress or to prove. You act because the empire already exists within you, and your movements are simply its unfolding. This is why silence is powerful. It roots you in certainty, while freeing you from the exhausting need to be seen or approved. In time, your silence will speak louder than any words ever could. The walls will rise, the gates will open, the influence will spread, and those who once doubted will stand in awe. By then, you will not need to say, "I told you so," for the empire itself will declare it. To build within, in quiet assurance, is to trust the process of creation. What is real within will, in its appointed season, reveal itself without. And when it does, the silence you kept will be seen for what it truly was, the soil in which your power grew. Every empire is first built within. It begins as a seed of assumption, takes form through identity, grows stronger as you act in harmony with vision, and matures when you ignore circumstances and persist in faith. In silence, it gathers power until the day it reveals itself before all. What you dare to claim inwardly, the world must eventually reflect outwardly. Therefore, carry yourself as the builder now. Live not in hope, but in certainty. For the moment you act as if, you are no longer becoming. You already are. Thank you.
Imagine for a moment that the life you live now is simply a shadow of the life you are destined for. You may feel an internal stirring, a gentle yet persistent nudge within you that cannot be ignored. This is no accident. God is moving, and the very circumstances of your life are being rearranged for a purpose beyond your current comprehension. Here are 5 unmistakable signs that you are being prepared for a blessing, a divine promise that awaits only your awareness and acceptance. There is a subtle yet unmistakable feeling that begins to stir within you when something profound is about to change. It's a restlessness that you can't quite explain, a sensation that the life you've been living no longer fits the person you're becoming. This inner discomfort is often the first sign that God is preparing you for something greater. It's not meant to cause anxiety or fear, but to awaken you to the reality that the current circumstances of your life are no longer aligned with your higher calling. At first, this restlessness may feel like dissatisfaction with the mundane details of life, your job, your relationships, your daily routine. Things that once brought you comfort now seem hollow, and the things that once excited you have lost their luster. This discomfort can be perplexing because, on the surface, nothing appears to be wrong. Yet deep inside, there's a nagging sense that you are meant for something more. This feeling is not random, nor is it a mistake. It's the universe nudging you out of your comfort zone, preparing you for the expansion that is about to occur in your life. You might try to ignore it at first. After all, change is often uncomfortable, and we tend to cling to what we know, even when it no longer serves us. But this inner stirring is persistent. It keeps resurfacing, urging you to pay attention, to look beyond the surface of your daily existence. This is because the restlessness you feel is not just dissatisfaction with your current life, it is your soul awakening to its next level of growth. It's the spiritual equivalent of growing pains, a signal that you are outgrowing your old self and stepping into a new phase of your journey. Many people mistake this discomfort for something negative. They might assume they are doing something wrong or that life is unfairly testing them. But in truth, this is a sacred process. God is using this feeling of unease to push you toward a higher path. It is a call to expand, to grow, and to prepare yourself for the blessing that is already on its way. Without this restlessness, you might never feel the need to step into your potential. You might remain stagnant, comfortable but unfulfilled, never realizing that you were made for so much more. But as the restlessness grows, so too does the desire for change. You may begin to dream bigger dreams, to envision a life that feels more aligned with who you truly are. This is no accident. The discomfort is designed to break down the barriers of your limited thinking, to shatter the illusion that the life you are currently living is all there is. It compels you to search for deeper meaning, to ask yourself what it is you truly want, and to open yourself up to the possibility that something greater is waiting for you just beyond the horizon. This process may feel uncomfortable because it requires you to leave behind the familiar and venture into the unknown. But it is in the unknown that God works His greatest miracles. It is in this space of uncertainty, where you feel the most vulnerable, that the seeds of your blessing are being planted. The inner discomfort is not meant to punish you, but to prepare you. It's a sign that your old life is falling away to make room for something new, something that is more aligned with your soul's purpose. So embrace this restlessness. Let it guide you, not as a force of anxiety, but as a beacon of transformation. Understand that it is through this discomfort that you are being shaped and refined for the blessings that are already unfolding in your life. You are not lost, you are being prepared. You are not abandoned, you are being positioned for something greater. The restlessness is not an end, but a beginning, a divine sign that you are on the verge of something extraordinary. There comes a moment in life when the things that once brought you comfort or security suddenly begin to slip away. Doors that were once wide open, offering you opportunities and connections, now seem to close with little warning. Paths that once seemed clear and certain become obscure or blocked. This can be a deeply unsettling experience, but it is often one of the clearest signs that God is preparing you for a blessing far beyond what you have imagined. When old paths close, it may feel like loss at first. You might find yourself questioning why things that used to work so well no longer serve you. Relationships may begin to fade or change, and situations that felt stable start to crumble. You could lose a job, an opportunity, or a friendship that once felt essential to your life. It can be tempting to view these closures as setbacks or as evidence that something has gone wrong. Yet in truth, they are not random acts of misfortune, but deliberate steps in the unfolding of your greater purpose. The closing of old paths is a divine signal that you are being guided towards something new. God never removes something from your life without preparing you for something greater to take its place. These closures are not meant to diminish you, but to clear the space for new opportunities to emerge. Often we cling to the familiar because it feels safe, even when it no longer aligns with the higher vision that is destined for us. It is through the closing of these old doors that we are nudged toward growth and transformation. What you must understand is that these closures are not rejections, but redirections. When certain paths are no longer accessible, it is because they have served their purpose. They brought you to where you are now, but they cannot take you any further. Now, just as a plant outgrows its pot and must be transplanted into a larger space to continue growing, so too must you move beyond the confines of your current situation in order to step into the next phase of your journey. As painful as these moments may seem, they are actually acts of grace. The universe is removing what no longer serves you to make room for the blessing that is already prepared for you. If the old paths remained open, you might be tempted to stay where you are, never realizing that something far better is waiting for you. The discomfort of losing the familiar is a necessary part of stepping into the unknown, where your greatest growth and fulfillment lie. Trust that these closures are happening for your highest good. The relationships that end, the opportunities that disappear, and the paths that fade from your view are all part of the process of clearing space for what is to come. It is through this clearing that the new can take root. It is only when the old paths close that you are forced to open your mind and heart to the possibility of new directions that align more closely with the person you are becoming. This process requires faith. Faith that what is falling away is not being taken from you, but being released to make room for something more. Faith that you are not being abandoned, but rather being prepared for a new season of growth, success, and fulfillment. As long as you hold on too tightly to what has been, you cannot receive what is yet to be. So when old paths close, do not despair. Recognize that this is part of your spiritual evolution. It is the universe's way of guiding you toward your next chapter, your next blessing. Embrace the unknown, for it is there that you will find the unfolding of your divine destiny. Trust that every closure is a necessary step toward the greater purpose that awaits you, and know that God is with you, guiding your every step toward the blessing that is already on its way. There comes a time in your journey when the external world seems to fade into the background, and the noise of everyday life becomes less influential than the quiet whisper within. This shift is a powerful indication that God is preparing you for a significant blessing, and one of the most profound signs of this preparation is the heightened sensitivity to your inner voice. This inner voice is not just a fleeting thought or feeling, but a deep, intuitive knowing that begins to guide your decisions and shape your perceptions of reality. As you become more attuned to this inner voice, you realize that it has always been there, quietly nudging you in the direction of your highest good. Yet in the past it may have been drowned out by the opinions and expectations of others, or by the distractions of daily life. But now, as your spiritual awareness deepens, this inner voice becomes clearer and more distinct. It's as if a veil has been lifted, and you can hear the guidance of the divine with greater clarity than ever before. This heightened sensitivity is not just a mental shift, it is a shift in consciousness. You begin to trust this voice more than what your eyes can see or what others tell you. External circumstances, which may seem chaotic or uncertain, no longer dictate your sense of direction. Instead, you are guided by an internal compass that leads you toward a future that has not yet materialized in the physical world, but feels absolutely real within your soul. This inner voice becomes your primary guide, your source of wisdom, and the anchor of your faith. At times, this voice may lead you to make decisions that seem illogical to others, or even to your own rational mind. It might prompt you to walk away from a job, a relationship, or a situation that on the surface seems stable and secure. Yet deep within, you know that these choices are aligned with a greater plan, one that you can sense, even if you cannot yet fully see it. This inner knowing is a form of divine communication, a way for God to steer you toward your blessing, even when the path seems uncertain. As your sensitivity to this inner voice grows, so too does your ability to distinguish it from fear, doubt, or ego-driven desires. This voice is calm, gentle, and unwavering. It speaks with a quiet confidence, offering guidance that is rooted in love, not fear. When you follow it, you feel a deep sense of peace, even if the direction it leads you in is unknown or challenging. It does not force or push, but it invites you to trust, to let go of control, and to surrender to the flow of divine timing. This inner voice also sharpens your intuition, allowing you to sense things before they happen. You might find yourself feeling drawn to certain people, places, or opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, as if by divine orchestration. This is no coincidence. As you become more sensitive to your inner voice, you also become more attuned to the subtle ways in which the universe aligns circumstances to bring you closer to your blessing. Serendipity and synchronicity become more common in your life, and you begin to recognize that these moments are not random, they are the direct result of following your inner guidance. The more you listen to this voice, the more your faith is strengthened. You no longer need external validation or proof that you are on the right path, because your inner knowing is all the confirmation you need. You trust that the blessing is already yours, even if it has not yet fully manifested in the physical realm. This trust allows you to move through life with a sense of calm assurance, knowing that you are being divinely guided every step of the way. This heightened sensitivity to your inner voice is a gift, a sacred tool that prepares you for the blessing that is coming. It aligns your consciousness with the divine plan, allowing you to navigate challenges with grace and confidence. As you continue to listen to and trust this voice, you will find that it leads you not only to the blessings you seek, but also to a deeper connection with your true self and with the divine source of all blessings. It is through this inner voice that you will find your way, even in the midst of uncertainty, to the fulfillment of your greatest desires. Challenges and trials are often perceived as barriers, obstacles standing in the way of our dreams and desires. However, when viewed through a spiritual lens, these difficulties are not hindrances, but essential stepping stones to something greater. They are part of the divine preparation process, ensuring that you are ready to receive the blessings that are destined for you. While it's easy to see trials as punishment or misfortune, they are in fact opportunities for growth and transformation, God's way of strengthening you for what lies ahead. When you encounter a challenge, it often feels like a detour from the path toward your goals. Plans may fall apart, unexpected setbacks arise, or you may find yourself facing difficulties you never anticipated. Yet it is in these moments of uncertainty and struggle that the greatest growth occurs. These trials are not meant to break you, but to build your character, refine your faith, and deepen your trust in the process. Each challenge you face serves a purpose in shaping you into the metaphor of a sculptor chiseling away to handle the blessings that are coming your way. From the outside, the process may appear harsh and destructive, with large chunks being chipped away. But from the sculptor's perspective, each strike of the hammer is intentional, revealing the masterpiece hidden within the stone. In the same way, the challenges you face are not random or meaningless. They are the divine tools that shape you, removing what no longer serves you and revealing the strength, wisdom, and resilience within. Trials often come to test your faith, but they also serve to strengthen it. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to trust in the process and believe that all is well. But it is in the moments of difficulty, when the outcome is uncertain and the path ahead is unclear, that your faith is truly tested. These are the times when you are called to believe in the unseen, to trust that there is a greater plan at work, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. It is through these challenges that your faith becomes more than just a concept. It becomes a living, breathing force that sustains you through the darkest times. These trials prepare you not only spiritually but also practically. The challenges you face often teach you skills, patience, and perspectives that you wouldn't have gained otherwise. They refine your abilities, stretch your limits, and force you to think in new ways. What once seemed impossible becomes possible, because the trials have equipped you with the tools and resilience necessary to overcome future obstacles. You emerge from each challenge stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the blessings that are waiting for you. It's important to recognize that these trials are temporary. They are not permanent roadblocks, but rather transitional phases meant to guide you toward your blessing. Often, when you look back on the challenges you faced, you can see how they were perfectly timed and necessary for your growth. What may have felt like a setback in the moment was actually a setup for something greater, a lesson you needed to learn, or a strength you needed to develop in order to fully embrace the blessing that was on its way. Another crucial aspect of trials is that they foster a deeper sense of gratitude. When you've walked through hardship and come out on the other side, you appreciate the blessings in a way that you wouldn't have if everything had come easily. The struggle enhances your appreciation for the success. The journey through difficulty makes the reward all the more meaningful, and you come to understand that the trials were not detours but necessary steps on the path to your blessing. And challenges and trials are divine stepping stones that lead you closer to your highest potential. They are not obstacles meant to block your path, but opportunities to rise to a new level of spiritual and personal growth. By embracing these trials and trusting the process, you allow yourself to be prepared for the blessings that are already destined for you. The struggle is not in vain. It is the very thing that will propel you toward your greatest breakthroughs. Challenges and trials are often perceived as barriers, obstacles standing in the way of our dreams and desires. However, when viewed through a spiritual lens, when you encounter a challenge, it often feels like a essential stepping stones to something greater. Plans may fall apart, part of the divine preparation setbacks arise, ensuring that you are ready to receive the blessings that are destined you never anticipated. While it's easy to see trials in these moments of uncertainty and struggle, they are in fact that the greatest opportunities for growth and transformation. These trials are not meant to break you, but to build your character, refine your faith, and deepen your trust in the process. Each challenge you face serves a purpose in shaping you into the person you need to become in order to handle the blessings that are coming your way. Consider the metaphor of a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. From the outside, the process may appear harsh and destructive, with large chunks being chipped away. But from the sculptor's perspective, each strike of the hammer is intentional, revealing the masterpiece hidden within the stone. In the same way, the challenges you face are not random or meaningless. They are the divine tools that shape you, removing what no longer serves you and revealing the strength, wisdom, and resilience within. Trials often come to test your faith, but they also serve to strengthen it. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to trust in the process and believe that all is well. But it is in the moments of difficulty, when the outcome is uncertain and the path ahead is unclear, that your faith is truly tested. These are the times when you are called to believe in the unseen, to trust that there is a greater plan at work, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. It is through these challenges that your faith becomes more than just a concept. It becomes a living, breathing force that sustains you through the darkest times. These trials prepare you not only spiritually, but also practically. The challenges you face often teach you skills, patience, and perspectives that you wouldn't have gained otherwise. They refine your abilities, stretch your limits, and force you to think in new ways. What once seemed impossible becomes possible, because the trials have equipped you with the tools and resilience necessary to overcome future obstacles. You emerge from each challenge stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the blessings that are waiting for you. It's important to recognize that these trials are temporary. They are not permanent roadblocks, but rather transitional phases meant to guide you toward your blessing. Often, when you look back on the challenges you faced, you can see how they were perfectly timed and necessary for your growth. What may have felt like a setback in the moment was actually a setup for something greater, a lesson you needed to learn, or a strength you needed to develop in order to fully embrace the blessing that was on its way. Another crucial aspect of trials is that they foster a deeper sense of gratitude. When you've walked through hardship and come out on the other side, you appreciate the blessings in a way challenges and trials are divine stepping stones that lead you closer to your highest potential. The struggle enhances your appreciation. They are not obstacles meant to block your path. The journey through difficulty makes the reward to rise to a new level of spiritual and personal growth. And you come to understand that the trials were not by embracing these trials and trusting the process to your blessing. You allow yourself to be prepared for the blessings that are already destined for you. The struggle is not in vain. It is the very thing that will propel you toward your greatest breakthroughs. There is a mysterious force at work in our lives, an invisible hand guiding us toward our highest good even when we are unaware of it. This unseen support and the serendipity that often accompanies it are clear signs that God is orchestrating the circumstances of your life in ways you may not fully understand. When you are being prepared for a blessing, you begin to encounter people who offer you unexpected insignificant events, aligning in ways that seem to arrive out of mere coincidence. Perhaps you bump into an old friend. These moments are not the random, they are divine intervention, or a door opens that you didn't even know existed, offering you exactly what you need at precisely the right time. Are not chance, they are evidence of the universe moving behind the scenes, aligning the details of your life to bring you closer to your blessing. God works in mysterious ways, often using these moments to nudge you in the right direction, confirming that you are on the path towards something greater. This unseen support may come in the form of resources, ideas, or connections that seem to appear just when you need them. You might find yourself in the right place at the right time, or stumble upon information that answers a question you've been struggling with for weeks. These moments of alignment are like breadcrumbs leading you toward the fulfillment of your desires. They reassure you that, even in the moments when you feel lost or uncertain, you are not alone. There is a divine intelligence at work, ensuring that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. One of the most powerful aspects of this unseen support is that it often arrives when you least expect it. In moments of doubt or frustration, when you feel like giving up, a solution or opportunity can suddenly emerge that changes everything. It may feel as though the universe is conspiring in your favor, rearranging events to clear the way for your blessing to manifest. These moments remind you that there is a higher power guiding your steps, even when you cannot see the full picture. You are being supported in ways that transcend your human understanding. Serendipity often works in tandem with your intuition. It's important to recognize that this support is always there. You may find yourself even if it's not immediately obvious. Places or sometimes it operates in the background, perfectly aligned moving with your things into place before you even realize. You might not understand why you feel compelled to take a particular action or follow a certain path. But later, that doesn't mean they're not into place. You realize that in fact, many of the most significant moments of growth and transformation occur. This is how unseen support operates. It works even when we can't see the full plan, leading you toward your blessing. Faith in the unseen even when the powerful seems unclear, and it allows you to stay open to the unexpected ways that support and guidance can show up in your life. This unseen support also teaches you patience and trust. When you know that things are being arranged on your behalf, you are less likely to force or rush the process. You learn to surrender to divine timing, understanding that everything is unfolding according to a plan far greater than your own. The moments of serendipity that appear in your life serve as reminders that you are being taken care of, even in the waiting. You are being guided and supported, and your blessing is on its way, arriving in perfect alignment with the divine plan. Unseen support and serendipity are gifts from the universe, showing you that you are not walking this path alone. These moments reveal that there is a greater force working on your behalf, arranging the details of your life in ways that lead you toward your highest good. By trusting in this support and embracing the serendipitous events that occur along the way, you open yourself up to receiving the blessings that are already being prepared for you. The journey may be full of uncertainty, but the unseen hand of the divine is always guiding you, ensuring that you arrive exactly where you are meant to be. At a certain point in your journey, there comes a shift, one so profound. This shift often changes the way you perceive everything around you. You start to notice subtle differences. This shift in consciousness is not just a change in your thoughts or beliefs around you, but a transformation in your very awareness, with frustration or impatience. Deepening of your connection to the divine, responding and a realignment of your inner world. You begin to see that the events of your life, both good and bad, are not random occurrences, that requires you to see beyond the surface of reality and engage with the spiritual truths that the outer world is a reflection of your inner state, unnoticed, and you start to take responsibility for your thoughts and emotions, realizing their power to shape your reality. In this journey of preparation for your blessing, every step, whether it comes through discomfort, closed paths, heightened intuition, challenges, unseen support, or a shift in consciousness, is an essential part of the divine process. Each moment, every trial, and all serendipitous encounters are leading you closer to the fulfillment of your highest potential. As you learn to embrace the guidance from within, trust the timing of the universe, and allow yourself to be shaped by your experiences, you become aligned with the blessings that are already prepared for you. Remember, everything in your life is working in harmony to bring about the manifestation of your desires. Trust in the unseen forces guiding you, and know that each moment is purposeful, leading you toward a future more beautiful than you can imagine. Your faith, patience, and openness will allow the divine to work through you, preparing you for the abundant blessings that are already yours. Thank you for allowing these insights to resonate within you. May you walk confidently on your path, trusting that everything is unfolding in perfect alignment with the divine plan. There is a knowing that resides deep within us all, a knowing that the world we perceive is not the world as it truly is. This world of appearances, of seeming limitations and struggles, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of our inner consciousness. He knew this truth, the one who walked before us, awakening to the realization that what we call reality is but a projection of the mind. And once you know this, you hold the key to your freedom. The world you experience is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the contents of your inner state. Everything you encounter, from the people you meet to the situations you face, is a projection of what you carry within. This understanding is the key to unlocking your power to transform your life. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the creator of it. What you believe, what you feel, and what you expect are the invisible forces shaping the visible world around you. Most people believe that life happens to them. They see themselves as separate from the world, at the mercy of external forces beyond their control. But this belief is an illusion. The truth is that the world is constantly responding to the thoughts and feelings you hold. The experiences you attract are not random, they are the result of your dominant inner states, whether you are conscious of them or not. If you are filled with fear, doubt, or lack, you will inevitably encounter situations that reflect those inner feelings. Conversely, when you dwell in a state of confidence, peace, and abundance, the world mirrors that back to you. This is not to suggest that everything you experience is deliberately chosen by your conscious mind. In fact, most of the inner states that create your reality are habitual and subconscious. From childhood, you have been conditioned by society, family, and past experiences to think and feel in certain ways. These ingrained beliefs and patterns of thought operate beneath the surface, shaping your life without your awareness. But once you realize that your inner state creates your outer world, you begin to see that you have the power to change your reality by changing your mind. This understanding empowers you to take responsibility for your life. It frees you from the belief that you are at the mercy of luck, fate, or external circumstances. You are always in control, even when it seems that events are happening beyond your influence. The outer world is malleable, a reflection that shifts as you shift within. If you don't like what you see in your life, the answer is not to fight or resist the external situation. Instead, the answer lies in turning inward and transforming your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions about yourself and the world. Take a moment to reflect on the current state of your life. What do you see? Are you encountering struggle, lack, or limitation? If so, it is likely that you have been dwelling in an inner state of worry, scarcity, or self-doubt. These inner feelings manifest outwardly as the conditions of your life. But the beauty of this truth is that you can change those conditions by altering the inner state that gave rise to them. When you shift your focus away from what you don't want and begin to dwell in the feeling of what you do want, your outer reality must follow suit. This is the power of assumption. What you assume to be true, both consciously and unconsciously, shapes your experience. If you assume that life is hard, that success is elusive, or that happiness is fleeting, you will continue to encounter evidence that supports those assumptions. However, if you begin to assume that you are worthy of love, abundance, and joy, the world will reflect those beliefs back to you. It is not a matter of forcing things to happen. It is about aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. To shift your inner state, begin by observing your thoughts and feelings throughout the day. What is the dominant tone of your inner dialogue? Are you constantly worrying, criticizing, or doubting yourself? If so, it is time to consciously redirect those thoughts. Replace them with affirmations of your desired reality. Imagine yourself already living the life you want. Feel the emotions associated with that fulfilled desire. This process may take practice, but as you persist in cultivating a new inner state, you will begin to see the outer world change in response. The world is but a reflection of your inner state, and the moment you understand this, you become the master of your own experience. There is no need to struggle against the circumstances of your life. Instead, turn inward and cultivate the feelings, beliefs, and assumptions that align with the reality you wish to create. As you do, the outer world will effortlessly mirror the transformation taking place within you. The power of assumption is one of the most profound and transformative principles governing your life. It is the invisible force shaping your reality at every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. At its core, assumption is the act of believing something to be true, even before you see any physical evidence of it. This belief, held within the depths of your consciousness, becomes the seed from which your external experiences grow. Your life in its entirety is the result of what you have assumed to be true about yourself, the world, and your place in it. Most people live their lives reacting to circumstances. thinking that they must see a change before they can believe in it. However, this perspective keeps them bound to their current conditions, because it is not the outer world that initiates change, but the inner world of belief and assumption. The law of assumption reveals that whatever you assume to be real in your mind will harden into fact in your outer life. If you can shift your assumptions, you can shift your reality. Your assumptions are powerful because they operate at the subconscious level, influencing your thoughts, feelings, and actions without your direct awareness. Whether you assume abundance or lack, success or failure, health or sickness, these assumptions act as the foundation of your experience. They shape your perceptions, dictate your responses, and draw people and situations into your life that align with those beliefs. This means that you are constantly living out the truth of your assumptions, whether you realize it or not. When you assume something, you are not merely hoping or wishing for it to be true. Assumption is a state of conviction, an inner knowing that what you desire is already yours. The key here is to understand that assumption operates beyond the physical senses. You do not need to see or touch something to assume its reality. In fact, the very nature of assumption requires that you believe in the unseen, trusting that your conviction will eventually bring it into visible form. Consider for a moment the assumptions you have held about yourself. Do you see yourself as someone worthy of success and happiness? Or have you assumed that life is a struggle, filled with obstacles and disappointment? Whatever your dominant assumptions are, they have been reflected in your life. If you have experienced ongoing challenges, it may be because you have unconsciously assumed that struggle is a necessary part of life. On the other hand, if you find that opportunities and good fortune seem to flow easily into your experience, it is likely because you have assumed that life is filled with abundance. The beauty of the power of assumption is that it is entirely within your control. You can choose at any moment to assume a new reality. If you are dissatisfied with your current circumstances, you do not need to wait for things to change externally before you can feel differently. Instead, you can begin to shift your inner state by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This means cultivating the emotions and beliefs that align with your desired outcome, even before you see any evidence of it in the outer world. For example, if you wish to experience greater financial abundance, you must first assume that you are already prosperous. This does not mean pretending or deluding yourself, but rather adopting the inner state of someone who is financially secure. You begin to think, feel, and act as though your desire is already fulfilled. As you maintain this assumption, you will notice that the world begins to rearrange itself to reflect your new belief. Opportunities for wealth may arise, or you may develop new ideas and insights that lead to financial success. The outer world is simply responding to the shift in your inner state. One of the most important aspects of assumption is persistence. It is not enough to assume something briefly and then return to old patterns of doubt and fear. You must consistently live in the state of your assumption, maintaining your belief regardless of what the outer world currently shows you. The power of assumption works through sustained conviction, not fleeting hopes. When you persist in your assumption, even when it contradicts external appearances, you eventually bring that assumption into reality. To harness the power of assumption, begin by identifying the beliefs that have shaped your current experience. What do you assume to be true about yourself and your life? Are these assumptions serving you, or are they limiting you? Once you become aware of your assumptions, you can consciously choose new ones. Start small if you must, but make the deliberate decision to assume the reality you desire, and hold to that assumption with unwavering faith. The power of assumption is the secret to transforming your life from within. It places the creative power in your hands, showing you that you are the author of your experience. By changing what you assume to be true, you can change what manifests in your reality. In this way, assumption is not only powerful but liberating, as it frees you from the belief that your life is determined by external forces. Instead, it reveals the truth your reality is the reflection of your inner world, and by changing that inner world, you can change your life. Is the most powerful and creative force within you. It is through imagination that all things are brought into existence, and it is imagination that shapes the world around you. While many view imagination as a mere tool for daydreaming or fantasy, its true purpose is far greater. Imagination is the faculty by which you can create your reality, mold your experiences, and transcend the limitations of the physical world. It is not passive or frivolous, it is the ultimate creator, the source from which all manifestations arise. The outer world you see is nothing more than the crystallization of your inner imagination. Every invention, every work of art, every achievement that has ever come into being began first in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it. This is because imagination precedes creation. Before anything can exist in the material world, it must first be conceived in the mind. You are constantly using your imagination, whether you realize it or not. Every thought you entertain, every mental picture you hold, is an act of imagination, and those images are shaping your experience. Allows you to transcend the apparent limitations of time and space. When you imagine something vividly, you are no longer bound by what is currently possible in the physical world. In the realm of imagination, you can experience anything, become anyone, and go anywhere. This is the true power of imagination. It allows you to live from the state of your desired reality, even before it appears in the outer world. When you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you align yourself with that reality, and it must eventually manifest. One of the greatest misunderstandings people have about imagination is that it is separate from reality. In truth, there is no distinction between what you imagine and what you experience. The only difference is the timing. What you vividly imagine today will become your reality tomorrow. Your imagination is not bound by the constraints of the material world. It is limitless, and it can bring forth anything you desire. However, to harness this power, you must understand that what you imagine with feeling and belief will solidify into fact. The key to using imagination as the ultimate creator lies in the ability to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not enough to merely think about your desire, you must feel it as real. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself already living the life you want, you must fully embody the emotions associated with that experience. If you desire wealth, you must feel the security and freedom that wealth brings. If you desire love, you must feel the warmth and joy of being deeply loved. Imagination is not just visual, it is emotional, and it is the feeling that creates. The reason most people fail to use imagination effectively is that they allow their current circumstances to dictate what they believe is possible. They look at the world around them and imagine from a place of limitation. But to truly unlock the creative power of imagination, you must disregard appearances and live from within. The outer world is only a reflection of your past thoughts and beliefs. If you want to change it, you must first change your inner world. Imagination gives you the freedom to do this. By living in your mind as though your desire is already fulfilled, you call it into being. It is important to understand that your imagination works continuously, whether you are conscious of it or not. Every time you worry about the future or replay painful memories from the past, you are using your imagination destructively. You are creating more of what you do not want by focusing on it. This is why it is essential to take control of your imagination and direct it purposefully toward your desired outcomes. Instead of imagining worst-case scenarios or dwelling on limitations, choose to imagine the best. See yourself living in joy, abundance, and peace, and feel it as real. As you practice this, you will notice that your outer world begins to change in response to your inner state. Opportunities will arise, relationships will shift, and circumstances will unfold in ways that align with your imagination. This is not coincidence, it is the natural law of creation. What you imagine and feel deeply will always manifest, because imagination is the ultimate creator. To truly master the use of imagination, you must be consistent. It is not enough to imagine your desired outcome once, and then return to old patterns of thought. You must persist in your assumption, dwelling in the feeling of your wish fulfilled every day. Over time, your imagination will reshape your reality, bringing you into alignment with the life you desire. Imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seeing, the formless and the formed. When you understand its power and use it deliberately, there is nothing you cannot create. The limitations of the material world fall away, and you step into the role of the creator, shaping your experience from the inside out. Through imagination, you have the power to bring forth any reality you choose, and it is this power that makes imagination the ultimate creator. The limitations you perceive in your life are not real. They are false constructs, born from conditioned beliefs and societal influences that have convinced you of their solidity. Yet these limitations are nothing more than illusions, boundaries that exist only because you have accepted them as true. The moment you realize that limitations are self-imposed and not inherent to your nature, you unlock the door to boundless freedom. You are not meant to live within the confines of scarcity, fear, or doubt. The false nature of limitation is a veil that conceals your infinite potential, but once the veil is lifted, you can transcend any obstacle that seems to hold you back. From a young age, you are taught to believe in limitations. You are told what you can and cannot achieve, how far you can go, and what is possible or impossible. These beliefs become ingrained in your subconscious, shaping the way you view yourself and the world around you. Over time, you begin to accept these boundaries as facts, never questioning their validity. Yet, the truth is that no limitation has any real power over you unless you grant it authority. The only thing that keeps these limitations alive is your belief in them. Consider for a moment the boundaries you have placed on your own life. Perhaps you believe you are not talented enough, not intelligent enough, or not deserving enough to achieve your dreams. These beliefs are not reflective of any objective truth. They are merely assumptions you have made about yourself based on past experiences, failures, or the opinions of others. But these assumptions do not define you. You have the ability to change them at any time, and when you do, you will find that the limitations that once seemed so real begin to dissolve. The false nature of limitation becomes evident when you understand that your mind is the source of all experience. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create the reality you live in. If you believe in lack, struggle, or failure, you will encounter those conditions in your life. But if you shift your focus and begin to believe in abundance, ease, and success, your reality will reflect those new beliefs. Limitation exists only as long as you continue to think within the confines of the limited mind. The moment you expand your consciousness and adopt new beliefs, you open yourself to new possibilities. It is essential to realize that external circumstances do not create limitations, your interpretation of them does. Two people can face the same challenge, but one may see it as an insurmountable obstacle, while the other views it as an opportunity for growth. The difference lies in their mindset. Those who believe in their infinite potential are not deterred by difficulties. They understand that every perceived limitation is an invitation to rise higher, to expand beyond their current level of consciousness, and to prove that no boundary is fixed. One of the most powerful ways to break free from the false nature of limitation is to question your assumptions about what is possible. Instead of accepting limitations at face value, ask yourself, is this truly impossible, or have I simply believed it to be so? When you begin to question the validity of your limitations, you start to see that they are based on nothing more than past conditioning. You then have the choice to release those limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. Plays a critical role in transcending limitations. When you use your imagination to envision the life you desire, without regard to the constraints of your current circumstances, you activate a creative force that knows no boundaries. Imagination allows you to experience freedom in its purest form because it is not confined by the physical world. It is in your imagination that you can explore the limitless possibilities available to you. By living in your imagination, by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you begin to override the false limitations imposed by the external world. Another key to breaking free from limitation is understanding your true nature. You are not a finite being subject to the whims of fate or circumstance. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and as such, you are connected to an infinite source of power and creativity. This power lies within you, waiting to be activated by your belief. When you tap into this inner power, you realize that there is no challenge too great, no dream too big, and no limitation that cannot be overcome. The false nature of limitation is a construct of the mind, and like all constructs, it can be deconstructed. The moment you stop identifying with your limitations and start seeing them for the illusions they are, you are free. You are free to create, to explore, to expand into the fullness of your potential. Life will no longer be a series of obstacles to overcome, but a continuous unfolding of opportunities for growth and expression. When you let go of the belief in limitation, you step into a reality where anything is possible, and where you are the creator of your own limitless experience. Awakening from the dream of false reality is a journey of profound self-realization. Most people live their lives trapped in a world that appears to be real, but is in fact a projection of their conditioned beliefs and assumptions. This world, with all its limitations, struggles, and illusions, feels solid and unchangeable. Yet, once you begin to question its nature, you realize that the reality you perceive is not the ultimate truth. It is a reflection of your inner state, shaped by your thoughts, beliefs, and imagination. The moment you awaken to this understanding, you see that you have been living in a dream, one that you have the power to change. The first step in awakening is to recognize that the world you experience is a product of your mind. This doesn't mean the physical world doesn't exist, but rather that your perception of it is filtered through the lens of your beliefs. What you see and experience is not objective reality, but a version of it that matches your inner state. If you believe in scarcity, lack, and limitation, your world will mirror those beliefs. If you carry fear, doubt, or unworthiness, life will present you with situations that validate those feelings. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your inner world. The dream of false reality is perpetuated by the belief that you are separate from the world around you. From a young age, you are conditioned to see yourself as an individual navigating a world of external forces. You are taught that life happens to you, that you must work hard, compete, and struggle to achieve what you want. This illusion of separateness creates fear, anxiety, and a constant sense of lack. You become trapped in a cycle of seeking fulfillment outside of yourself, chasing after material possessions, success, or approval, only to find that these pursuits never bring lasting peace or happiness. To awaken from this dream, you must first realize that the power to create your reality lies within you. You are not a passive observer in the world, but an active participant in its creation. Everything you experience is a result of your thoughts and feelings, whether conscious or unconscious. When you accept this truth, you reclaim your power. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as the creator of your experience. You realize that the world is not something that happens to you, but something that responds to you. The process of awakening involves shifting your focus from the outer world to the inner world. Instead of reacting to circumstances and trying to change them from the outside, you begin to change yourself from within. You start to observe your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, recognizing how they shape your reality. As you do this, you begin to let go of old patterns of thinking that no longer serve you. You stop identifying with the limitations imposed by the dream of false reality and start embracing the limitless potential of your true nature. This inner transformation requires a radical shift in perception. Instead of seeing life as a series of problems to be solved, you begin to see it as a continuous unfolding of your consciousness. You understand that the challenges you face are not obstacles but opportunities for growth and self-realization. They are there to help you awaken to the truth of who you are. As you awaken, you stop seeing yourself as a limited being bound by time, space, and circumstance, and instead recognize your connection to the infinite creative power of the universe. A key aspect of awakening is the realization that your imagination is the source of all creation. The reality you experience is a reflection of what you have imagined, whether consciously or unconsciously. By using your imagination deliberately, you can begin to shape a new reality, one that aligns with your highest desires. This is the power of conscious creation, to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and in doing so, bring it into manifestation. When you awaken to this truth, you stop living in the dream of limitation and begin to live from a state of infinite possibility. Awakening from the dream of false reality also involves shedding the ego's hold over your perception. The ego, with its constant need for control, approval, and validation, keeps you trapped in fear and separation. It tells you that you are not enough, that you must compete and struggle to prove your worth. But once you awaken, you realize that the ego's voice is not the truth. Your worth is inherent, and you are already complete. There is no need to chase after external validation or material success, because true fulfillment comes from within. As you awaken, you begin to see the world with new eyes. The illusions of fear, lack, and separation start to fade, and you experience a sense of peace and unity. You realize that everything is connected, and that the world is a reflection of the love, abundance, and creativity that exists within you. The dream of false reality no longer holds power over you, because you now understand that you are the creator of your experience. You have awakened to the truth of who you are, a limitless, powerful being capable of shaping reality according to your highest vision. And this awakening is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of expanding your awareness and living in alignment with your true nature. Each day offers a new opportunity to deepen your understanding and step further into your creative power. As you continue on this journey, the dream of false reality fades, and you step into the boundless potential of your awakened self. In the end is a powerful principle that teaches you how to assume the feeling of your desired outcome as if it has already been fulfilled. It is the practice of embodying the state of mind and emotion that corresponds with the life you wish to create, regardless of your current circumstances. By living in the end, you bypass the need for external validation or physical evidence, and instead trust the creative power within you to bring your desires into manifestation. The essence of living in the end is understanding that your imagination is the key to creation. Your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner state. If you continue to focus on what is lacking or missing in your life, you will only perpetuate those conditions. However, if you align yourself with the state of already having or being what you desire, you initiate a shift in your consciousness that will inevitably manifest in the physical world. This is not about forcing change or manipulating circumstances. It is about becoming internally what you want to experience externally. The act of living in the end begins with clarity. You must first be clear about what you truly want. This clarity goes beyond superficial desires and reaches into the core of your being. What do you really long for? Is it love, abundance, health, peace, or fulfillment? Once you are certain about your desire, you must move beyond the mindset of wanting it and into the mindset of already having it. The key is to imagine in vivid detail what your life would be like if your wish were already fulfilled. How would you feel? What would you think, say, and do? Is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. When you live in the end, you use your imagination to create mental scenes that reflect the fulfillment of your desire. These scenes should evoke strong emotions and a sense of reality. You must feel as if you are already experiencing the outcome you desire. This feeling is crucial because it is the emotional charge that impresses your subconscious mind and brings your imagined reality into physical form. The practice of living in the end is about persistence and consistency. It is not enough to imagine your desired outcome once and then revert back to old patterns of thought. You must make it a habit to dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, day after day, regardless of what your current reality looks like. This may seem challenging at first because the mind is conditioned to react to external circumstances. However, as you practice, you will begin to notice that your internal state has far more influence over your life than any outer condition. In conclusion, the key to transforming your reality lies in recognizing the power of your inner world. By mastering the principles of imagination, assumption, and living in the end, you can transcend the false limitations that appear to define your life. Everything begins within. The reality you experience is but a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. When you shift your focus from lack and limitation to fulfillment and abundance, you awaken to your true creative potential. The world will respond to this inner shift, and you will experience the life you desire with greater ease and joy. Thank you for allowing me to share these insights with you. My friends, you hold within you the power to shape your reality, to bend the world around your desires. But the path to manifesting this power does not lie in more effort, more struggle, or more toil. No, it lies in what you are willing to release. There are 14 things that you must stop doing for yourself, for only then will you unlock the full measure of your creative power. The power of assumptions is a fundamental principle that governs our lives in profound ways. Every experience, every encounter, and every moment we navigate is influenced by the beliefs and assumptions we hold about ourselves and the world around us. These assumptions act as lenses through which we interpret reality, shaping our perceptions and guiding our actions. Understanding and harnessing this power can transform our lives and enable us to create the reality we truly desire. At the core of this concept is the understanding that our assumptions create our reality. When we assume something to be true, we align ourselves with that belief, allowing it to dictate our experiences. For example, if you assume that success is out of reach, you will unconsciously create barriers to achievement, reinforcing the very belief that holds you back. On the other hand, if you adopt the assumption that success is not only possible but also inevitable, you open yourself to opportunities, experiences, and connections that align with that belief. The key to harnessing the power of assumptions lies in recognizing their malleability. Our beliefs are not fixed, they can be reshaped and redefined at any moment. This means that you have the ability to change your life simply by changing what you assume to be true. If you find yourself consistently encountering obstacles, take a step back and evaluate your assumptions. Are you holding on to beliefs that no longer serve you? Are you allowing negative experiences from the past to shape your current reality? By consciously choosing to adopt new, empowering assumptions, you can rewrite the narrative of your life. Critical aspect of the power of assumptions is the role of imagination. Our imagination is not merely a tool for fanciful thinking, it is a creative force that shapes our reality. When we visualize our desires and embody the feelings associated with achieving them, we align ourselves with the frequency of those desires. This is not a whimsical exercise, it is a deliberate practice that sends powerful signals to the universe about what we are ready to receive. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we manifest our desires into tangible experiences. The journey of reshaping our assumptions is not without challenges. Old patterns of thought can be deeply ingrained, and it can be easy to slip back into limiting beliefs, especially in the face of adversity. This is where self-awareness becomes essential. By cultivating an awareness of your thoughts and assumptions, you can catch yourself in moments of doubt and negativity. Instead of succumbing to those limiting beliefs, you can consciously replace them with affirmations of your worth, capability, and potential. This practice takes time and dedication, but the results are transformative. The power of assumptions extends beyond personal success. It influences our relationships and interactions with others. When we assume the best in others, believing in their potential and goodness, we create a more positive environment that fosters growth and connection. Conversely, negative assumptions can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. By choosing to view others through a lens of compassion and understanding, we can improve our relationships and create a more harmonious existence. The power of assumptions is a remarkable force that shapes our reality in every aspect of our lives. By recognizing that our beliefs can be altered and choosing empowering assumptions, we can open ourselves to limitless possibilities. The imagination serves as a creative tool, helping us visualize and embody our desires, while self-awareness helps us navigate the challenges of ingrained patterns of thought. Ultimately, the reality we experience is a reflection of the assumptions we hold, and by mastering this power, we can create a life filled with abundance, joy, and fulfillment. Releasing the burden of effort is a profound shift in mindset that can radically transform how we approach our goals and desires. In a world that often equates hard work with success, many individuals believe that relentless striving is the only path to achievement. However, this belief can create a cycle of frustration, fatigue, and disillusionment. The truth is that we do not need to struggle against our circumstances. We can instead align ourselves with the natural flow of our desires and allow them to manifest effortlessly. At the heart of this idea is the understanding that creation is not a matter of sheer willpower or relentless action, but rather a function of our beliefs and the energy we embody. When we adopt the mindset that we must work hard to achieve our goals, we inadvertently place ourselves in a state of resistance. This resistance creates a mental barrier that makes it difficult to access the creative power within us. The more we struggle, the more we reinforce the belief that our desires are distant or unattainable, leading to a sense of separation from what we want. To release this burden, we must shift our focus from effort to alignment. This involves cultivating a deep sense of trust in ourselves and the universe. Instead of fixating on how hard we must work to achieve our dreams, we can ask ourselves, what does it feel like to already have what I desire? By embodying the feelings associated with our wishes fulfilled, we begin to resonate with the energy of our desires. This resonance attracts experiences, opportunities, and resources that align with our intentions. Visualization and meditation can be powerful tools in this process. When we take the time to visualize our goals, we allow ourselves to experience the emotions and sensations of having already achieved them. This practice not only reinforces our beliefs, but also opens the door for inspired action. Rather than forcing ourselves to take action out of obligation or desperation, we begin to act from a place of inspiration and joy. This shift in approach allows our actions to flow naturally and effortlessly, as they are born from a state of alignment with our true desires. It's crucial to recognize that the universe operates in harmony with our intentions. When we release the burden of effort, we create space for the universe to work on our behalf. This does not mean we become passive or inactive, rather, we become receptive. By maintaining an open heart and mind, we allow opportunities to present themselves in ways we might not have anticipated. Often, the most significant breakthroughs occur when we least expect them, illustrating that the universe is always conspiring in our favor. This journey requires practice and patience. It's easy to revert to old habits of striving and struggling, especially when faced with challenges. However, by continually reminding ourselves of the power of alignment and trust, we can create a new norm. We can begin to view obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth and learning. Each challenge is an invitation to release more of our attachment to effort and to deepen our connection with the flow of life. The release of effort can lead to greater well-being and fulfillment. When we stop tying our self-worth to our productivity or the outcomes of our efforts, we liberate ourselves from the anxiety and stress that often accompany this mindset. Embracing a more effortless approach allows us to enjoy the journey rather than fixate solely on the destination. Life becomes a vibrant exploration rather than a relentless race. Releasing the burden of effort is about embracing a mindset of alignment, trust, and receptivity. It invites us to shift our focus from striving to allowing, from struggle to flow. By embodying the feelings of our desires, remaining open to inspiration, and recognizing the universe's inherent support, we create a life filled with joy, abundance, and ease. This transformation ultimately leads to a deeper understanding of our true creative power and the realization that we are co-creators of our reality, capable of manifesting our dreams effortlessly. Stopping the habit of living in the past is one of the most liberating and transformative choices we can make. Our past experiences, whether they are successes or failures, often dictate our present thoughts, emotions, and actions. Many people find themselves trapped in a cycle of reminiscing about what once was, allowing past events to shape their self-image and limit their potential. However, by choosing to release the grip of the past, we can open ourselves up to new possibilities and create a future that aligns with our true desires. The first step in this journey is recognizing that the past is merely a collection of memories and interpretations that exist within our minds. It is important to understand that these memories do not hold inherent power over us unless we grant them that power. When we continuously replay past events in our minds, we often do so through a lens of regret, pain, or nostalgia. This habitual reflection can create a sense of inertia, preventing us from moving forward. By understanding that the past is not a definitive representation of who we are, we can begin to detach from it and reclaim our sense of agency. The act of living in the past often manifests in various ways: fear of failure, self-doubt, and reluctance to take risks. For instance, if someone has experienced failure in their career or personal life, they may subconsciously carry that failure into new endeavors, believing they are destined to repeat it. This mindset creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the fear of past outcomes becomes a barrier to new experiences. To break this cycle, we must consciously choose to focus on the present moment, recognizing that each day presents a fresh opportunity for growth and transformation. Mindfulness practices can be instrumental in helping us remain anchored in the present. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts and feelings, we can observe when we start to drift back into the past. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, or journaling can provide clarity and allow us to process any lingering emotions tied to past experiences. Through these practices, we can gently redirect our focus to the present moment, where our power truly resides. Another vital aspect of letting go of the past is embracing forgiveness. This applies not only to others but also to ourselves. Holding on to resentment, guilt, or regret can weigh heavily on our hearts and minds, hindering our ability to move forward. Forgiveness does not mean condoning past actions, rather, it is an act of self-liberation. By releasing these burdens, we create space for healing and allow ourselves to step into a brighter future. It is an acknowledgement that the past does not define us, and that we are free to write a new narrative. Shifting our focus to the present also means actively engaging with life as it unfolds. This requires a commitment to be fully present in our experiences, whether they are mundane or extraordinary. Engaging in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment helps to anchor us in the now. By pursuing our passions and interests, we can create a sense of purpose that propels us forward, rather than being tethered to the weight of our past. Stopping the habit of living in the past is an act of empowerment. It is a conscious choice to reclaim our lives and redirect our energy toward creating a future that aligns with our dreams and desires. The past may inform us, but it does not have to define us. Every moment is an opportunity to start anew, to embrace the possibilities that lie ahead, and to become the architects of our reality. By letting go of what has been, we can fully embrace what is and what can be, transforming our lives in ways we may have once thought impossible. In doing so, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our potential, allowing us to live authentically and wholeheartedly in the present. Letting go of the need for approval is one of the most empowering decisions we can make for our personal growth and self-acceptance. Many individuals find themselves trapped in a cycle of seeking validation from others, often allowing their self-worth to hinge on external opinions. This relentless pursuit of approval can lead to a myriad of negative emotions, including anxiety, insecurity, and dissatisfaction. By learning to release this need, we not only free ourselves from these burdens, but also cultivate a more authentic and fulfilling life. The desire for approval often stems from early life experiences and societal conditioning. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation from parents, teachers, and peers. While receiving praise can feel rewarding, it can also create a dependency on others' opinions for our self-esteem. As we grow older, this need for approval can manifest in various areas of life: career choices, relationships, and even our personal beliefs. When we prioritize others' opinions over our own, we risk losing touch with our true selves and the passions that genuinely inspire us. Recognizing the patterns of seeking approval is the first step in breaking free from this cycle. We must become aware of the moments when we seek validation or change our behavior to please others. This awareness allows us to reflect on the motivations behind our actions. Are we pursuing a particular career because it aligns with our passions, or are we doing it to gain respect from others? By examining our intentions, we can begin to distinguish between what we truly want and what we think we should want based on external pressures. Embracing self-acceptance is a vital aspect of letting go of the need for approval. This involves acknowledging and honoring our authentic selves, including our quirks, flaws, and unique perspectives. Self-acceptance is not about being perfect, it is about embracing who we are, warts and all. When we cultivate this acceptance, we become less dependent on others' opinions to define our worth. Instead, we learn to trust ourselves and our choices, which fosters a sense of confidence that is unshakable by outside influences. Another powerful practice is setting boundaries. This means learning to say no to situations or people that drain our energy or require us to compromise our values for the sake of approval. By establishing clear boundaries, we protect our time, energy, and mental well-being. This can be challenging, especially if we have conditioned ourselves to please others. However, with practice we can develop the strength to prioritize our needs and desires over the expectations of others. Engaging in self-reflection and journaling can also aid in this process. Writing down our thoughts, feelings, and experiences allows us to process our emotions and identify patterns related to seeking approval. It helps us clarify our values and what truly matters to us. By reflecting on our experiences, we can recognize moments when we felt fulfilled and happy, independent of others' opinions. This awareness reinforces the notion that our worth is inherent and not contingent on external validation. Surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals who celebrate our authenticity can significantly impact our journey. When we cultivate relationships with people who appreciate us for who we are, we create a nurturing environment that fosters self-acceptance. These connections remind us that we do not need to conform to others' expectations to be valued or loved. Letting go of the need for approval is a transformative process that leads to greater self-acceptance, confidence, and authenticity. By recognizing the patterns of seeking validation, embracing our true selves, setting boundaries, and surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, we can break free from the shackles of external judgment. This journey may require courage and introspection, but the rewards are immeasurable. Ultimately, when we release the need for approval, we empower ourselves to live a life that is true to our values, desires, and aspirations, leading to a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy. Abandoning fear and doubt is an essential step toward unlocking our true potential and living a fulfilling life. Fear and doubt are powerful emotions that can hold us back from pursuing our dreams, embracing opportunities, and stepping into our greatness. These feelings often stem from past experiences, societal conditioning, and our inherent desire for safety and security. However, when we allow fear and doubt to dictate our actions, we become prisoners of our own minds, limiting our capacity for growth and happiness. Fear typically arises from the anticipation of negative outcomes or the unknown. It can manifest in various forms: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, or fear of change. While fear is a natural human response designed to protect us, it can also paralyze us if we allow it to dominate our thoughts. Similarly, doubt creeps in as a whisper, questioning our abilities, choices, and worthiness. It convinces us that we are not enough or that our dreams are unattainable. Together, fear and doubt create a toxic environment that stifles creativity and inhibits action. To abandon fear and doubt, we must first acknowledge their presence in our lives. This requires a level of self-awareness where we can observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we identify moments when fear and doubt arise, we gain the opportunity to challenge these beliefs. Instead of allowing them to take control, we can ask ourselves whether these fears are based on reality or are merely projections of our anxieties. Often we find that the worst-case scenarios we imagine are far from the truth. Another crucial aspect of overcoming fear and doubt is reframing our perspective on failure. Many of us view failure as a negative outcome to be avoided at all costs. However, failure is an integral part of the learning process. Each setback offers valuable lessons and insights that can propel us forward. By changing our relationship with failure, we begin to see it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. This shift allows us to approach challenges with curiosity rather than trepidation, empowering us to take risks and embrace new experiences. Visualization is a powerful tool in this journey. By vividly imagining ourselves achieving our goals and overcoming obstacles, we create a mental blueprint for success. This practice can help reduce anxiety and build confidence. When we visualize positive outcomes, we train our minds to expect success rather than failure. As we engage in this process, we can also evoke the feelings associated with our success, reinforcing our belief that we are capable of achieving our dreams. Surrounding ourselves with supportive and encouraging individuals is another vital strategy for abandoning fear and doubt. The company we keep significantly influences our mindset. Engaging with people who uplift us, challenge us, and believe in our potential can create a positive environment that fosters growth. These relationships serve as reminders that we are not alone in our struggles, and that others have faced similar fears and doubts, yet still succeeded. Practicing self-compassion can aid in overcoming fear and doubt. Instead of harshly criticizing ourselves for feeling afraid or uncertain, we can treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. Acknowledging that fear and doubt are part of the human experience allows us to embrace these feelings without letting them dictate our actions. When we practice self-compassion, we create a nurturing inner dialogue that encourages us to take risks despite our fears. Abandoning fear and doubt is a transformative process that opens the door to endless possibilities. By acknowledging these emotions, reframing our perspective on failure, visualizing success, surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, and practicing self-compassion, we can break free from the limitations they impose. This journey requires courage and dedication, but the rewards are immense. When we let go of fear and doubt, we empower ourselves to pursue our dreams, embrace new opportunities, and live a life that is rich with authenticity and fulfillment. Ultimately, this journey leads us to a deeper understanding of our true potential and the boundless possibilities that lie ahead. One of the main reasons people wait for conditions to change is the belief that external factors dictate their happiness and success. This belief often stems from societal conditioning, where we are taught to seek validation and approval from our environment. We might tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when I find a better job," or "I'll start my fitness journey when my schedule is less hectic." This line of thinking creates a barrier that prevents us from taking proactive steps toward our goals. However, the truth is that waiting for perfect conditions often leads to a cycle of inaction, where we continuously postpone our dreams and desires. Recognizing that the power to change our circumstances lies within us is crucial. We must shift our perspective from external dependencies to internal empowerment. This begins with understanding that we have the ability to create our reality through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. When we take responsibility for our lives, we realize that we can make meaningful changes regardless of our current situation. This mindset shift can be liberating. It places the power to shape our lives squarely in our hands. Taking action, even in small ways, is essential to breaking free from the cycle of waiting. Many people believe they must take significant leaps to create change, but even small steps can lead to profound transformations. For instance, if someone is unhappy in their job, they might begin by updating their resume or networking with others in their field. These small actions can create momentum and open doors to new opportunities. By focusing on what we can do now, rather than waiting for perfect conditions, we can initiate change and move closer to our goals. Another important aspect of this mindset shift is cultivating resilience. Life is inherently unpredictable, and waiting for the ideal circumstances can lead to disappointment and frustration. Instead of hoping for a perfect environment, we can develop the ability to adapt and thrive in various situations. Resilience enables us to face challenges head-on and view setbacks as opportunities for growth. By embracing the idea that conditions may never be perfect, we empower ourselves to act regardless of our circumstances. The practice of gratitude can significantly impact our ability to stop waiting for conditions to change. When we focus on what we are grateful for in our current situation, we cultivate a sense of contentment that frees us from the longing for external validation. This shift in focus allows us to appreciate the present moment and recognize the opportunities that already exist. Gratitude can be a powerful motivator, encouraging us to take action rather than remain passive. Surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals is also vital in this process. Engaging with people who inspire and encourage us can reinforce our commitment to taking action. These relationships provide motivation and accountability, reminding us that we are not alone in our journey. When we share our aspirations with others, we create a sense of community that propels us forward. See, stopping the habit of waiting for conditions to change is a transformative decision that empowers us to take control of our lives. By shifting our focus from external dependencies to internal empowerment, taking proactive steps, cultivating resilience, practicing gratitude, and surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, we can create the life we desire. This journey requires courage and commitment, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we choose to act despite our circumstances, we unlock our potential, embrace new opportunities, and live a life rich with purpose and fulfillment. Ultimately, we realize that the power to change our lives resides within us, waiting to be unleashed. In conclusion, the journey to personal empowerment and fulfillment begins with the conscious decision to take control of our lives. By abandoning fear and doubt, letting go of the need for approval, releasing the burden of effort, stopping the habit of living in the past, and ceasing to wait for conditions to change, we pave the way for a more authentic and rewarding existence. Each of these steps invites us to embrace our true selves and recognize our inherent power to shape our reality. As we embark on this path of transformation, let us remember that the power to create change lies within us. We are not bound by our past, nor should we be hindered by external circumstances. Instead, we have the ability to cultivate a mindset of resilience, gratitude, and self-acceptance, which empowers us to act and seize the opportunities that life presents. Thank you for your time and attention. Together, let us commit to living boldly and authentically, forging ahead with confidence and a belief in our limitless potential.